Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CDL podcast channel. In this episode today, we're going to be talking about a little bit of news, some roster moves, and some other things that have been happening in the scene and in the game. And then we are just going to be basically diving full on into a bracket pick'em for the first major of the Vanguard season, the CDL 2022 season. We're really excited to get into that. As you all know, it's one of my favorite kind of episodes to do, full out predictions, especially when it's a major instead of just regular season matches. So super excited to get into that. Before we do that and the news, Kyle, how you doing today?
Uh, doing okay. We woke up last week on Thursday in the midst of a new era of Western civilization. With all the events going on in Eastern Europe. I'm sure that'll be sprinkled in. It felt like I was living in the plot of Modern Warfare 2. Well, maybe not living in it, but experiencing it on the news. But yeah, I mean, this upcoming land has like kind of re-energized me with getting excited to watch every single match of COD again. Um, Probably not gonna be skipping any of them coming up on Thursday. So yeah, I'm ready to get into it.
Yeah, I'm so excited. The major always brings a lot more excitement because the matches seem to mean a little more, and we get LAN, which is always just more exciting, especially because I believe there is going to be like a full crowd there. So hopefully we're hearing some crowd noise in the background. I'm sure Esports Engine is going to do it right and give us that full effect of the crowd noise. And I am so excited to watch. I literally cannot wait for it.
Mic the crowd up.
Yeah, and I know Esports Engine is going to do it right. I mean, they did it right for. I mean, Adam Epicel and his team did it right for how many years with MLG at the CWL event, so they're going to do it right. There's no worries there. But I mean, the event is always more electric when you can hear the crowd scream at a big play. No matter who's making the big play, like you just hear that crowd scream either in pain or in joy. It's always amazing. Like that Seattle series when they upset Faze last year with all the crowd noise was like absolutely insane. But before we dive into our predictions, got a little bit of news to talk about. We could have, rearranged. There's some other big news, but I specifically put this one first to talk about just to keep Kyle happy. We get to talk about his favorite team, Paris Legion, headliner of the news section. They made a roster change. I guess I was about to say first one of the year, but technically not. I guess New York beat them to that. Decimate was dropped from Paris. Although, as of the time that we hit record on this podcast, there's actually no official replacement. CDL Intel is saying it's Gravity, but they haven't actually announced that. So Decimate drop from Paris. Jimbo just tweeted like 5 minutes ago it's official contract gift that everybody always tweets. But there's rumors that like he didn't sign. CDL Intel is saying he hasn't signed yet, but it looks like he's saying Gravity is his replacement. So I thought that they would maybe move Fellow straight up to the sub because that's what he always was in the past, like an entry sub. But it looks like CDL Intel is also saying that they're going to obviously have Gravity on the main, and then they're going to slide Temp down to a full-time sub / like that third AR if they need it on like a Gavitu, and then Fellow's going to play the flex. So I do believe this makes the team a little better because it's good to see Gravity in the league. We've all been saying for years that he deserves it. Maybe this bumps them ahead of New York. Who knows? Both of them are probably going to get first rounded, so we won't really get to see much. But I'm a little excited for this because we finally get to see Gravity in the league, see what he can do. And I think it makes the roles on the team make a little more sense. So kind of excited to see if they can maybe turn themselves into a little bit more competitive and start to try to make a run at an 8 seed or something.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel for the guys getting dropped this early. But as we've seen with uh, I guess really last year we saw some early moves as well. But yeah, I mean, I guess teams just aren't as reluctant to kind of hold their chips and play with what they have. They're looking to wheel and deal and make moves. You know, After realizing through the first year and a half or so how valuable every match win can be, and when it comes
Not dig
to
yourself a hole.
when it comes to CDL champs, seeding and stuff, and just having enough points to even qualify for champs or playoffs, whatever you want to call it. But I think I'm excited for this team. But obviously, like I still feel for the guys that are getting dropped. Even though they might have been, you were kind of critical on Decimate for costing, and
Mm-hmm.
but I think we both would agree we would have liked to see John have a little bit more time,
Oh yeah,
and maybe have another like full-time aggro sub to run with him.
yeah. I feel like he's
Um,
been kind of left up to dry with nobody to run with him.
yeah, and hasn't been put in the best situations since his return. So I think Yeah, I'm excited. I hope this team can improve on, their former team, but I won't believe it until I see it really.
No, absolutely not. And I don't think we're gonna get to see much because they play the loser of OpTic Seattle. So I mean, if they do win a series this weekend, it's gonna be something miraculous because they're gonna have to beat a good team to do so. But I don't think we'll see them do a whole lot this weekend. But I'm excited because Gravity has deserved this shot in the league. I do think. I wish they would move Fellow down to the sub, but I do think moving Temp down there gives John a little bit more of an aggressive partner, like you said. I also think it's nice to see John maybe get a little bit more of a longer leash because I feel like he has a higher ceiling than Decimate. I mean, he's a COD Champs MVP, a World Champ. We've seen him win at the highest level, Decimate. We haven't seen him win at all at the highest level. Granted, he's been a pretty good player at times. But I also think John's been put in some bad situations because this team plays Gavitu like 2 times a series all the time. So he's just a sub kind of left alone. And if any of you have played the sub on Gavitu in ranked play or have watched all these pros try to play a sub on Gavitu, there's very few people that have success because it is a very difficult map to use a sub on. But we can move on from Paris. I know, Kyle, you're sad to move on from them, but we got to talk about what probably really is the biggest news, and that's the COD annual release announcement. Obviously, somewhat old news, but it was basically dropped like the day after we recorded the last podcast, so we didn't talk about it on there. But Call of Duty, for the first time in what is it, like 20 years since basically the game first started being released, is not doing annual release. This coming year, there obviously will still be a release, and that's what they're calling Modern Warfare 2, although it feels kind of like a sin because I know the game won't be as good as the OG Modern Warfare 2, so it feels kind of like a sin to call it that. But that game is releasing like normal schedule, like probably like end of October, early November. And then after that, we're going to play that game for 2 years. And then we're getting the next Treyarch title. And then I don't really think we know what it looks like after that Treyarch title, if they're going to go back to yearly releases, if they're going to continue like the 2 year cycle. I don't even think they really fully know yet, but I'm a little nervous if I'm being honest because we are going to have 2 years of Infinity Ward COD, which I know created Warzone and a lot of people love that, but Infinity Ward is historically the least friendly to competitive. They make the least friendly competitive games, and they seem to care the least. They've never one time put a ranked play in their game. Modern Warfare, Infinite Warfare, all the way back to Ghosts, and then back to the Modern Warfares, obviously before ranked play was really a thing. They've never had one in their game, so that's very nerve wracking. I would say could be something good because the pubs community seems to love it, and it seems to be the most popular title, that Modern Warfare series, especially after the 2019 version. But I'm very nervous for the competitive side because Modern Warfare 2019 was the worst competitive game we've ever seen with the least dev support. So a little nerve wracking, Kyle.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what they're gonna do for the competitive side. Obviously, we would imagine that they would stick with the most current title, just for continuity's sake and to drive,
Yeah.
viewership. In their mind, it would drive viewership because they're playing the same game, quote
hmm
unquote, as the pros are. But yeah, I don't know. I was just more shocked to hear that they're not doing an annual release, and kind of makes you wonder what Treyarch is up to. Because obviously they stepped in and kind of finished the product for Sledgehammer on Cold War, and then uh, yeah, it seems like they would have more than enough time. I know the dev cycle is kind of all over the place. Like, the public at large really doesn't know, and neither do I, exactly how far in advance they're working into a title. But yeah, it's kind of surprising. Yeah, I mean, I echo all your sentiments about being nervous for competitive, though. I think it kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah. I mean, I think from like I think everybody's probably thinking this unless maybe you're just like a completely pubs guy, which at this point you're definitely not listening to this podcast. But if you're just like a completely public player, I think they might be excited. But I think all of us on the competitive side were saying, why couldn't it have happened on a Treyarch title? Because I mean, like Cold War wasn't a fantastic game by any means, but it was a solid game, and we know Treyarch is always going to give us probably a traditional spawn solid game that we know, like even if it's not the best, it's going to be like a good competitive title to play for 2 years. So I think all of us were uh, probably hoping and praying that if this situation ever came up, we'd start on a Treyarch title, so we'd have 2 years of that. But if this game is squad spawns and like crazy, like a Modern Warfare, that means we're playing squad spawns 3 years in a row. It's gonna be hard for me to keep up my passion to actually play the game. Like I've been grinding rank play, which I guess we can kind of move on to if you don't have anything else to say
Yeah.
about this. And I tweeted about it. Frustrations. People were really liking that. People were dropping a lot of likes, comments on the tweet. It was really frustrating, to be honest with you, to play rank play over this past week as everybody figured out this glitch where basically at any point during the game you could just quit your app. Like if you're on a PlayStation or Xbox, not I'm assuming you could do the same thing on PC. I don't really know. I play on an Xbox, but you could just basically quit your app and you would lose no SR for the game no matter what. So it didn't really see it that much because I don't think people knew about it like early on, so it was like still working pretty well. And then all of a sudden, like people realize that, oh my god, if you quit app, you don't lose anything. There's no penalty or anything like that. So people would quit app. Like literally, if you were playing like solo queue or me and my buddy were playing duo queue, like we got down 2-1 in a control and we were like frying. We just like kind of like choked. We got 4 wiped and they capped the point. We were definitely the better team. Like we had a chance to come back and both our teammates just quit out because they're like, oh my god, we're down 2-1 in control. We don't want to lose SR. And they quit out. And it's like, okay, cool. We were down 2-1 in a control on Tuscan. Like you can very easily come back. And we had defense in the next round. So it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like people just would quit out, or like you'd get down 2-0 and search, I'm quitting out. And it's like, I'm not a scumbag, so I'm not going to quit out to not lose my SR. But I'm like, wow, cool. Since these guys are weird, they just like leave. Or like if you're at like 240 to 230 in a hard point, they just quit out if they die. So they don't even like fight the last hill. It was so dumb. But apparently they fixed that today as we're recording this, like a couple hours ago. It was fixed, uh, which is very good. The only other thing I'd say with ranked play is the SR is like wonky. Like you can drop numbers and you get like 5 SR for some games and you lose 50 when you lose by like 6-5 in search. So some issues with ranked play, but glad to see they're fixing the quitting.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they're able to balance out the SR so where it's obviously like equitable for everyone playing the game. And not just with quitting. Obviously, that's a huge. Hopefully, it will be a huge deterrent for people leaving. But also you were mentioning that they had kind of like you only got a couple points for a win, then for a loss you'd like lose your entire
Yeah,
like
you could drop
thing
50
of
in a hard point with
SR.
2 minutes in the hill, and you get 5 SR, and then you do the
Yeah,
same thing and lose, and then you lose 50. It's like, what?
yeah. So I mean, hopefully that gets balanced out in timely manner so that people can actually progress up the SR ranks. That's kind of the draw of these ranked systems where you can start like middle to low tier, and if you're good enough and if you play with good enough people and play the right way, you can like progress upwards. And I think the one of the big draws for a lot of semi-competitive people is like maybe you hop in a match with like a CDL pro or an AM or something. That'd be like really cool.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
so yeah, I mean, point being is like I hope they get the SR right.
I hope they do too, because like the time I noticed how broken it was actually yesterday. I was playing with 4 stack, my normal squad I always play with. I'd say me and my other friend Brock are probably our two best players in our team. And we started the day. I was at about like 2100 SR, and I think he was at like 1900. And we played every game together on the day. Like mind you, we didn't split at all. He finished the day at 24, so he went from 19 to 2400, and I finished the day back at 2100, and we were doing like basically even. He was doing a little better one game, I was doing a little better one game, and I was dead even on SR, and he gained 500. So something's clearly broken with the system, because even if somebody's completely outplaying you, if you play every game together on the day, somebody shouldn't break even while the other person gains 500 SR. That's really not how it should work. But hey, my ISR is actually sitting at about 2450 after this podcast. I might hop on and play a little late night. I'm at 2450. I'm one game away from hitting Masters and on my way to Challenger. So maybe we'll drop some gameplay on the channel at some point if that's something you guys want to see. Maybe we'll get Kyle to come play with us or something. We'll do a little duo queue. Who knows? But I'm approaching Master. I'm going for that top 250, Kyle.
I wish you the best of luck. I can't wait to see it.
It's a grind though, and then you start to play the PC players. You can kind of tell that guy's locking onto my head a little too fast, because cheaters have been running rampant. Speaking of not locking on heads though, there's also the aim assist glitch in the game right now, which is approaching as we approach land. That's going to be a big deal. People, like, I was tweeting about it before they announced it. I was saying, I swear I'm losing aim assist. Like, what's going on? And everybody was like, yeah, I'm losing it here. I'm losing it here. And then it was like leaked that they're working on a patch right now because your aim assist just randomly toggles off in the middle of the game. I don't think that's fixed before land, so that's something that's very unfortunate, because we're probably going to see it happen a couple times when you see a guy whiff some crazy shots because he loses aim assist. But I mean, that's I guess something that we can't really do too much about, because we're going to have to get the devs to fix that for us. Last piece of news we got I know Kyle loves to talk about Doug, like I do. So Doug has a new challengers team. I thought it was worth mentioning though, because somebody on it is Chino, who, as we know, retired before this season. He's coming out of retirement to try some challengers out. And this is a good team for Doug. He has Chino, Paulex, and Venom with him. So arguably Doug's best team on the year. I mean, Paulex and Venom were solid pros last year in the CDL. And then we know Chino, multi-time champion, and is a solid main AR. Maybe he'll be a little behind since he hasn't played this year, but interesting. I'm excited to watch that. You all know I like to watch Doug's streams when he streams the Challengers Cups, and as long as this team lasts, through the week to play a Challengers Cup, um, should be a fun thing to watch.
Yeah, I mean, why don't you just admit you like seeing his pull-up form to work on your own as well?
Oh
When
my god, yeah, for sure.
you
I
can
wish
see
I
those
wish
you
I
can
could do
see
as many
those
pull-ups as Doug.
lats. You can see the lats really working there.
There's nothing more comedy than when he's in like a podcast and he just like gets bored and he just goes back in the background and just starts doing pull-ups.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, hopefully this team can last through the week. But it'd be nice to see, because I think the one drawback to really following like the saga of Doug is like him having an actual like steady roster to
Yeah.
like go week to week with, and
He's been
might
playing well this year. He's actually like this is the best I've seen Doug look since I would argue like the middle of World War II.
yeah, I mean, I think nobody can doubt that his passion is still there. Given all of his preseason talks and ranting about, on the flank and other podcasts and stuff too. Yeah, definitely a polarizing figure, like you said, but I mean that's more like the character of Doug and stuff. But
Mhm.
yeah, maybe this team could do something in in the next Elite Series. Who knows?
Yeah, I'd love to see it. That the Challengers talk reminded me too. One thing before we get into our bracket, the Minnesota event was announced as Major 2, and they announced there's a Challengers LAN at the Minnesota event. When I went to that first inaugural like CDL kickoff one, there was a Challengers event there. Is the one that got all the infamous publicity because it was in the parking garage or whatever, which was extremely blown out of proportion. I was at the event and it was a very, very nice venue for a Challengers event, but it got blown out of proportion. But it looks like they're having it like the Mystic Lake Casino, which I mean, I'm from Wisconsin. I've been over in that area. I've been to the Mystic Lake Casino a few times when I've been in Minnesota. It's going to be a fun venue, and they're going to have a Challengers LAN. Probably the first Challengers LAN since like the beginning of MW. Actually, not probably. It is the first Challengers LAN since the beginning of MW. So that's going to be something really cool to see the Challengers finally get a LAN to go to.
Oh, you're forgetting about all those like mid-am lands that happened
Yeah, in
right
the
at the
middle of
beginning of
COVID.
and people were like absolutely no land, so they're literally playing online, but it's like a land, just kind of weird. But yeah, Rocker once again showing everybody that they're doing it right. Looking out for the entire scene.
They're a flagship org.
Yeah, I mean, uh, so hopefully this goes off well, and a lot of teams are able to make the commute. I don't know exactly how they budgeted it out, if they have, if they're given some kind of stipend for room and
Mm-hmm.
board or travel, but yeah, I mean, I hope that it, gives a lot of attention to the AM scene, and maybe get some guys like
Yeah.
Shift and Visions casting and stuff. I know that's always good for them too. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
So am I. I'm also excited to get into these bracket predictions. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, so we're gonna cut this off, and then we are gonna come back with the CDL brackets from the Pick'ems on the website on the screen, and we're gonna dive into that. So there'll be a little video portion if you are listening on the audio platforms at this point. You can hop on over to YouTube if you want to follow along on the screen with the bracket with us. We'll be right back, and we'll have that up on the screen. All right, we've got the bracket up on the screen, ready to do our predictions. Oh man, I'm ready for this. I'm excited because, as you guys all know, predictions are my favorite, and especially for a major. And I honestly think, in terms of majors that we've seen over the last really year, I guess, going back to Cold War, this is potentially one of the most competitive we're going to see. Um, Obviously, like Faze was pretty much the favorite in every major last year. Now, coming into this major, you've maybe got 5 or 6 teams that a lot of people believe could potentially win it all. It's maybe not a lock that Kyle and I are going to pick Faze, as it pretty much was in every event last year. So I'm excited to get into it. Kyle, you ready?
I am very ready.
All right. First match, maybe I would argue the easiest one of the first round, I would think. Faze versus Boston. I mean, I think we're probably both leaning Faze here. It's pretty hard not to, unless you're thinking something crazy. But what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, this really comes down to if Boston can take one of the first two maps. Um, because if they go down 0-2, I just think that FaZe would probably close them out on control, given that Boston's a really terrible control team right
And
now.
Faze's Simp is like the control guy.
Yeah. So it would, like I said, it would come down to them either just like sneaking out the first hard point or, stealing the search off phase. So in my mind, it's either going to be a 3-0 or a 3-1.
Hmm.
Honestly, whatever you want to pick for that I would be in total agreement.
I actually think I want to give Boston a map just because I think a lot of times we tend to see teams start slow on LAN, especially the favorites, and especially in the first LAN of the year. I mean, Kickoff Classic, yeah, but uh, we're not really like accounting for that here. It's so far away. But I kind of want to give Boston a map because I do think that I don't think it's impossible that they win this series. I definitely say it is probably like a 95% plus chance FaZe wins. But I feel like I want to give Boston a map because they're very good at search and destroy. And I feel like they're going to be at least competitive in the hard point. But I do think, like you said, if they go down 0-2, I think they're getting 3-0'd. But I don't know. Through those first three maps, I kind of want to give Boston a map and go 3-1.
That's fair.
Because I also think on land it's going to even out. I really do think they could take the search and destroy because that is kind of their calling. And also, you never know with guys like Nero and Cap, they've shown high upside, and even TJ at times has showed really high slaying upside. So I feel like maybe Boston comes out red hot. They could somehow find a way to take one of those respawns, the map 1 or map 3, and we know they're a good search and destroy team. So I feel like they're one of those teams that stays competitive. They did lose to Faze 3-1 just 2 weeks ago, so I feel like that's a pretty justifiable map for them. But we're going Faze 3-1. All right. Now, honestly, looking at these next three matches in the first round, I think that there is a legitimate case that can be made for all six teams. The underdogs, I guess, technically based on seeding, are Surge, LAG, and Ultra, but three teams we know are pretty good teams. Next match, though, is OpTic versus Surge. This one, in my opinion, would have been a lot more interesting just 3-4 weeks ago when Surge were looking like they could have been the best team in the game. But obviously, Surge, maybe one of the coldest teams right now, kind of on a little bit of a slide. OpTic, maybe one of the hottest teams right now, winning 3 in a row. I'm definitely leaning OpTic here. I don't know if you're thinking different, but just based on the way that the teams are going, I feel like OpTic is the pretty safe choice and the obvious choice here. But wouldn't be like completely shocked if Surge won it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this just has like, if anybody's familiar with the and you know with the term BDE, that would be like what I believe OpTic is going to come out with.
And
You
they're
know,
going to be like the fans are going to be
the
crazy.
the minute that Scump or Shotzi, MP40s like gets two or three in the feed, the series is going to be over. Like once you get the Let's Go OpTic and people just like jumping out of their seats and stuff.
Gump hits a 3-piece on P1 of the first till or something, and
Yeah, like Scump or Scump like sits in the creddy corner and like waits for three people to come by and then like shoots them all in the back or something. I don't know, or Dashy, does something crazy. I don't know, or it could be anybody. Um, but yeah, like you mentioned, Surge are kind of on a slide. Um, looking back at their placement matches, like accuracy clutched up twice to give them series wins. And
yeah,
I'm not saying that to take away from their wins by any means, but like I think there's a world where some of their wins are, I don't know. You could say that they're gifts maybe, or that in another world they might not have had them. Uh, So yeah, I'm siding with OpTic here. It's just a matter of how many maps I think Surge could take. Because I do
yeah.
think Surge are still a good respawn team, and obviously like they have a fair amount of clutch factor in Surge as well. I don't know. What are you thinking as far as map, or are you siding with OpTic firstly?
I'm definitely siding with OpTic. I feel like not only are they the better team, but they're hot and Surge are cold. Uh, I do think Surge have that. Once again, I feel like they have a better chance than I thought Boston has to win the series because they do have, I mean, Pred and Sib have that really, really high upside. And Mac also has high upside. And we know accuracy is going to be steady. He does have a history of being able to take out OpTic, and he's a very clutch player, as we all know. So I do think Surge have a decent chance here because they do have a lot of upside players that, like, if they just click, we know we've seen Sib already at this point this year and Pred, both of them. We've seen them click in regular season matches in the Kickoff Classic. We've seen them click and have those superstar type moments. So I can see them doing something, but I feel like I want to go with one map for Surge. I want to go 3-1 OpTic because I do feel like Surge are pretty good in search and destroy, and they are pretty good in respawn, like you said. But I think OpTic is going to come out red hot and win that first hard point. And then I think Surge will find a way to maybe take a map 2 or 3. But I feel like OpTic are going to be up 2-1 going into that map 4, and they're going to close them out on a hard point, in my opinion.
Yeah, that would be my guess as well. A 3-1.
All right, so we're in agreement there so far. We haven't had to settle any debates. Obviously, for those of you guys watching, this is our first like full-on bracket for the year because first major, and it's a little different with two people. Typically, like it's nice to have an odd number so that way you're guaranteed to not have a tie. But haven't gotten to that point yet. But I know as I scroll down to these two matches, you all see here, this could be a point where we are split because I legitimately think both these matches are toss-ups. And the one that we have right here first. I know you guys are all shocked probably hearing me say that I think it's a toss up because I've been so high on Royal Ravens this year, but I think this is maybe the worst matchup they could have gotten of like the potential teams they could have played. Uh, Obviously, you wouldn't want to see them play Ultra because Ultra are a very scary team, but if Boston would have won, I think they maybe would have gotten Boston or they would have gotten somebody else along that lines. Maybe OpTic if Boston would have beat OpTic, but I think Gorillas are kind of a trap match for London. I still think I probably lean London, but this has 5-game series written all over it to me. It's scary because LAG is one of the most experienced LAN teams with the most experienced players in tournament environments, and London is one of the most inexperienced team in those environments. LAG kind of dominated London in the series they played a couple weeks ago, 3-1, where Asim tore them apart. I think it's a terrible matchup for London. Like I'm scared for them. I'm really scared, but I still think I want to lean them just because they have looked a lot better than LAG up to this point. But this is a toss-up series to me.
Yeah, for me, this really comes down to, if London can, show up on land, because obviously in the kickoff they really kind of fell flat. And I mean, we do have to take into account that it was like these are online matches versus LAN, but how much how much stock are we putting in that? I don't know. So for me, like you said, I do agree that LAG is such a trap match. It's like at the classic like six seed versus 10 seed in March Madness or something. Like, there should be a clear favorite, but then it's coming down to like the last minute of the game or something. Oh man, I do think London have higher upside as just like a 4-player unit, at least right now. But it's really
Yeah.
hard to discount, like, if Surge are clicking that day, and obviously they're very experienced on land, as you said, with Slasher Gunless, who can ace them. It's just tough. I don't know. I
It's
I definitely see it going like 4 or 5 games.
I'm on a 5-game series all the way here.
Yeah, I mean, but sometimes when we say that games are gonna go, matches are gonna go 5 games, sometimes it ends in like 4 or 3 or something. But yeah, I'll go. I don't know.
I think that
I'll go London, just because I think that they are gonna turn it around. Um,
from their last LAN performance, you're saying?
from the last land performance,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I just think they can't psych themselves out with that, or if that makes sense, like they kind of gotta like hype themselves up when it comes to like playing another Vanguard match on LAN.
Yeah, I will definitely go. I'll go London 3-2. I'll agree with that. This is such a tough one to me too because spoiler alert for the next match. I'm not going to be going with underdog in the next match. Maybe the team that I almost am riding to win the event is playing in the next match, or think that is going to make a deep run, and that means that we're going to pick all the higher seeds. in this first round, which never, ever, ever, ever happens. That's like my rule. It's how I picked my Modern Warfare champs when I was like the only guy on Earth to pick London to go to the top 4 because there's always some random bottom seed that makes a run. So maybe that'll be a losers bracket team, but it almost never happens with the top seed wins. But I don't know. I just feel like OpTic aren't going to lose. Faze aren't going to lose. I don't think the next team we're going to talk about as a top seed is going to lose. So I feel like one of these teams is going to win, but I think we could play it safe. Go London here. We've been talking so high on London, and specifically me throughout the online matches. But this is, in my opinion, this match and the next one we're about to talk about are the 2 matches to watch. I think they're the 2 best matches of the first round. I believe they're both happening on Thursday. I think every one of the winners round 1 matches is happening on Thursday. So we have some great COD to watch on Thursday, Kyle. But we can go London 3-2 if you're good with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. It's just like, I don't know, LAG. And it's also hard to beat a team twice too. LAG beat London
Yeah.
online, so maybe some degree of anti-strat coming in or something. Who knows? But I'll go with London. I think that's a good pick. I mean, there really is no wrong pick per se.
No. I
But
really don't think there's any like crazy upset. I think the only crazy pick would be Boston over Faze in this first round. I don't think it's crazy to pick any other team in the
right.
first round to win it. I legitimately think every team could win. Next one, Thieves Ultra. Talk about a brutal draw for Thieves getting the 2 seed. And they get to draw Ultra out of it. You could argue that Ultra was a team you maybe thought was going to be the 1 seed, the 2 seed going into this event. Obviously, had some struggles, lose a lot of close matches. They had a very, very, very tough qualifying schedule, and they find themselves as the 7 seed. And we've got Thieves versus Ultra, a rematch of a match that Thieves won. I'm very interested to watch this one. It's going to be an absolute grueler. This and that series we just talked about, London LAG, in my opinion, are the 2 that I'm most excited to watch over the OpTic and Faze series. I'm going to be honest, though. I've been listening to my Codfather Aches, and he's really riding LA Thieves, and he made a point I really liked. LA Thieves has been playing from LA this whole time. They probably have been playing on a lot higher ping, and they've still looked this good. They are the best hardpoint team in the game. I think that's pretty much undisputed at this point. They also have been okay at control. Really, their main struggle has been search and destroy, but I feel like if they're frying online on probably the higher ping, they're probably going to be even better on LAN, and I think they're going to get carried by their hardpoint this event. As long as they can figure out their search and destroy, they're going to be good, which is interesting because Ultra historically are a pretty good search team since this team has been formed. But I'm feeling Thieves here, and I'm feeling it in a 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot better to have hardpoint as your best game mode, and then just like piece it together on search, or like, rather than being like a 2-3-5 team or a 2-5 team. If your respawn is just dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also hard to doubt the greatness of Ultra on LAN and their
Ooh,
composure.
100%.
Save Major 5 from last year, yes. It was just a collapse of epic proportions. But yeah, I really want to ride Thieves as well. I think it's another similar to OpTic, like the BDE. I think they'll have a lot of crowd support as well.
Oh, for sure. Probably the second most behind OpTic.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, I think they also bring a lot of LAN experience. I think probably Draza would have the least amount of LAN experience.
Yeah, Envoy actually doesn't have a ton
On the
either.
team. Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, like you said,
I
Envoy.
guess he played all of BO4 on LAN.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, on the Gen G team and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I just hope that Octane continues this like IGL-ish role that he's in now. I think that their hardpoint's going to carry them, and as we've seen in the past, kind of stringing it together along on search and destroy, or just kind of like some crazy calls or something, like, hey, we'll just figure it out. And obviously, like, it's a lot easier to improve on your search than it is to like be playing catch up on hardpoint, I would imagine. And
Mhm.
as we've heard other pros say in the past as well. So yeah, I like this as a 3-1 or a 3-2. I just think that Ultra have a lot of fight in them. Uh
For sure.
but I definitely see Thieves being the favorites in both hardpoints. So maybe it's like a Thieves, Ultra Thieves, and then we go to a game 5. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of want to go with my original 4 games just because I do think if it goes to
Yeah,
a 5th game, I would actually probably lean Ultra into game 5 if this series gets pushed
right.
because of
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
composure. But like you said, these are also going to be a very composed team because they're a bunch of veterans. I think if this was like a Ultra versus Ravens, I would maybe have a little more confidence in like the inexperience of Ravens and then the composure of Ultra. But Thieves are very experienced. I'm pretty high on Thieves coming to this event, so
Mhm.
I'll mark down 3-1 and we can jump
Yeah,
down to the
that's good
elimination.
with me.
And we've got, I mean, this created some very intriguing matchups in our elimination bracket. Ooh, we got a good one coming up. These matches are all happening on Friday, it looks like. First one being Boston versus Florida. This is a tight match, in my opinion. Uh, is there any way you're leaning on this one?
I don't know.
Obviously, Florida, the team starting in losers here. Also, I forgot to mention something to note. I'm not 100% sure on this, but I believe it's true. I'm scrolling up to the top of the bracket. For those of you watching on YouTube right now, I believe that the higher seed gets to pick the control in every single series. If
Yes.
they're the higher seeds, there's no coin flip. So that's something to note. Like Faze gets to straight up pick the control in every match they're in, except I believe in the grand finals, it comes to who's ever the higher seed gets to veto the one hard point they don't play. Since you have to play every search map, every control, and then every one but one hard point, since there's so few maps in the game. So the only advantage they get is they get to veto the one hard point map. They get to pick what map they don't want to play. Uh, but then, so like OpTic, Faze, London, and Thieves are all get to choose the control map in that first round. So that's a big advantage. You get to guaranteed choose that control map. Don't have to worry about the coin toss. Uh, so in this one, Boston obviously will get to choose the control because they're the higher seed, come from winners. But yeah, all right. What were you saying about Boston, Florida? Where are you feeling?
I would it be crazy to think that I'm leaning Florida?
It's not crazy.
I think that they just have some weird thing about them where they're putting up really good numbers. We kind of highlighted last week in our rundown of you know, we were kind of diving into stats a little bit and we were like, hey, Florida's got a lot of players that are up there and uh Dave's like really high up there too, but we didn't put him on our list. But yeah, I don't know. Boston gets the advantage of having played a match, and then they come down to losers. So you got to kind of give them, they'll
They
have
also get the
some,
control pick. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But Boston again isn't the best control team as well. But maybe that plays
I
into their advantage where they get to pick the map that they want to
well,
play.
I'm not sure what Florida's record is on the control maps either, but I actually
Mhm.
think it's a huge advantage in this series because of Florida's triple AR stack. Boston can get Gavitu out of there and play Tuscan. And I think
Yeah,
that plays to Boston's favor with TJ, Cap, and Nero all being able to use subs, and Florida, as we know, struggling with pace and being able to use subs. So I think the control advantage in the series is actually massive for Boston, being able to get that 3 AR map out of there.
yeah.
I
Well,
don't know.
so I don't know. I'm gonna just throw it out there, and I'll lean Florida in a 3-1. I don't know. 3-1
Okay.
sounds about right.
Okay, I'm not opposed to Florida. I was actually leaning Boston this one because I think Boston might have a chance to win this and win another match. Just because I don't know, I like Boston's ceiling with their 2 rookies. I really think they could have pop off events. Uh, but I do like what you were saying about Florida, how they have so many guys with such good stats. They're just not producing it into wins right now. Although at the same time, we also saw them kind of dominate Seattle in that final match. So just like all the other years, it's like, wow, Florida, what are we going to get? A team that can beat top teams, or a team that's going to get beat by Paris, where they like couldn't beat Paris last year? Uh, it's I don't know. It's a brutal one to predict. Um, I don't know. I am leaning Boston, but if you're not feeling good about Boston, I'm good with going Florida because I also could see Florida winning this.
Yeah, it's not that I'm not feeling good about Boston so much as just that I don't know. Just something about Florida says that they're gonna win a match.
All right. I'll put Florida in there for a 3-1, but that's one I'm nervous on. That's a toss-up match to me. I could really see Boston getting that, and I think if Boston's able to win that, they might make a little run, win a couple matches. Uh, Next match, Surge versus Paris. This one I think is maybe a little more interesting than we thought because we get to see a new Paris roster at the very least. So that'll be something interesting to note. maybe puts a little wrench in the plans for Seattle as they don't get to maybe study as much film because a little bit of a new team, maybe some new strats being brought in. Paris is going to have forever to just basically just work on a map pool they want to get, a map set they want to get. They get Gravity in there. They're a team that now gets even better on a map like Gavitu. They're already pretty decent at Gavitu control. They now get better because they have Gravity, Temp, and Fellow who can all run ARs very well. Let John roam. And as we know, John is like top 2 or 3 in control KD this year. That's the one game mode he's really excelled in. So I think this is a more interesting match than people maybe think. I'm definitely still leaning Seattle, but I actually think this one might go the distance. I think this might be a 3-2. Like Seattle's been ice cold. I think it might get a little interesting. I'm thinking Paris takes at least one map here, but I am going Seattle.
Yeah, I'm going to go Seattle 3-1.
Okay. I'll put that down.
I could definitely see the 3-2 happening though.
And Paris may not be good, but once again, Temp, John, Fellow, these are veterans on LAN. And like you said, the crowd noise, John and Temp and Fellow are not getting affected by any crowd noise. Fellow is historically like all of his teams suck online, like historically, and every single time he goes to a LAN, he places top 4. I don't think Paris is going to place top 4 here, but that's like the history of his career is his teams always get better on LAN and they don't lose search and destroy on LAN. So that's why I think this match is a little more interesting than people think. I won't be shocked if Paris comes out and finds a way to win this, unless OpTic falls down here, because I don't think OpTic is going to get double first rounded in their own major by Paris. But if it is Surge down here, I do think Paris actually have somewhat of a chance to win. But yeah, I'll agree with the Surge 3-1, and we can move them on. All right. Now we get to talk about Kyle's team. My opinion, based on the matches we created down here, the best losers bracket match for this round 1, Gorillas versus Rocker. We talked pretty highly about Gorillas, talked about potentially having them win in that first round. Probably the favorite in this match over Minnesota. Obviously, they get to pick the control because they are the higher seed. I don't know, though. I'm definitely leaning LAG in this series because I do think they are, well, really the better team, but it's 2 veteran teams. It'll be interesting to see them play each other. I think Minnesota has the clear search and destroy advantage, but Gorillas have the clear respawn advantage. I also think that Gorillas are not a terrible search team, although the record says they are. I think that they could find a way to win one, but I'm leaning Gorillas. I think this is another 3-1 because I do tend to favor Minnesota if this would go Mat 5, but I'm thinking Gorillas 3-1 here.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do agree with you here. I just don't think that this is the start that Minnesota had, envisioned for themselves in a perfect world. Starting in losers, and then obviously facing up against this tough LAG team. So with that being said, I'm gonna agree with you in the 3-1. I think that they'll go back to the drawing board, though. Rocker, obviously they won't get to play another match if they do end up losing this one. And I just would hope that they're able to turn around their respawn, because that seems to be what's really holding them back. Is at least converting these respawn numbers into wins, because we've seen them have decent slaying potential. So I think this is more credit to how good of a team LAG is, though. I don't think that Rocker is ever a team to roll over and play dead, though. So
no,
you could expect a fight here, because obviously, Rocker do have a lot of veteran presence and LAN leadership on their team and LAN know-how. They're able to handle the noise and stuff. So we really have 2 veteran teams, ish teams going up against each other. So I think this totally has the makings of a back and forth duel.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be shocked at all if Minnesota is able to win this. Didn't they just beat LAG recently when LAG blew the series? And Minnesota is a team that will force you to blow the series because they're clutch and they'll make plays when it matters. They'll have hardpoint comebacks. They'll clutch up and search. Minnesota can 100% win this series. That's why I'm calling it the best series of this losers round 1. If the matchups go the way that we predicted them to, this is the best series in my opinion. But we can move LAG on 3-1. But this is certainly going to be a good match. I can easily see it going 5 games for sure. I think the reason that we probably both are picking it in 4 is because I think we favor Minnesota in a 5th game, and I think we both think LAG are the better team. So picking a 3-1. Moving down to our final match of elimination round 1, Toronto versus Subliners, a matchup that is crazy to think is happening in losers round 1. Obviously, Subliners have been really downright horrible this year, but crazy to think this is happening in round 1 because round one of losers, and one of these teams is going to go home without winning a match in this bracket, because I mean, these are two teams coming into the year that we expected to be towards the top with Crim and Clay, and then obviously Ultra returning their roster. I'm definitely leaning Ultra here. I think it'd be pretty crazy to pick Subliners, although it's Crim and Clay on LAN, and Hydra is disgusting at this game, so you never know. Something crazy could happen. Crazier things have happened on LAN, but I'm definitely leaning Ultra here. Uh, I'm okay with, I'm thinking 3-0, 3-1 territory. I don't think this goes the distance, but I wouldn't be shocked if Crim and Clay are able to win a map. It'd definitely be the first time in their history that those two would go to a LAN and not win a map if they do get 3-0'd.
Yeah, I wonder if this is their longest combined hardpoint winless streak
Oh,
in
it's
their
gotta be.
careers.
Gotta be. 9
Um,
games?
yeah, so I would definitely agree that they're gonna get 3-1'd.
Okay.
I'll
I'll
give
go with
some
on that.
respect. I'll give some respect and give them
And as
the control maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
As like
as
as a
crazy as it
stopper.
sounds, like they could find a way to push this series a distance because it is such a veteran team, but there's just no way I'm feeling confident enough to pick them over a team. Like if we would have dropped like a Breach down to here, maybe like Breach would have dropped down to here. Maybe Surge, I could have seen a way, especially with Subliners finding a way to beat Breach already once. Like I could have maybe found a way to give them a series, but I mean, I'm not going to be completely shocked because they do have the veteran players and the MVP candidate like Hydra if they win, but there's just no way I'm willing to pick them over Ultra, who we know are like as rock solid as it comes and pretty steady. All right, you ready to move on to our second
Mhm.
round? I think we'll probably do the elimination round, move those on, then go back up to winners. The second elimination round, the two matches we have here. Uh, Going back up to the top of the elimination side of things, we've got Florida versus Surge. Battle of the two ocean, the two sea teams. This is a weird one to me. I didn't have too much confidence in Florida for the first round, so I think I definitely lean Surge here. Although we saw Florida absolutely take it to Surge in their recent match. They dominated them. It wasn't close. But I do think Surge are going to find a way to ice up. I think Surge team composition makes a lot more sense. I flat out really think they're the better team. Uh, I think Surge are going to start rolling here, maybe carry some momentum and get back to a little bit of the form we saw them early on. Uh, I think I'm once again gonna lean. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna lean 3-2 here. I think it's gonna be close just because of the nature that Surge are in what they're struggling. But I think this could be a momentum series. They clutch up in a game 5, maybe get something rolling to potentially try to make a run deeper. But I'm definitely going Surge here.
That's funny because I was leaning Surge 3-0. I think they're gonna really start to pick up a head of steam here.
I think so as well, but I thought it could be through a game 5. But you know what? We haven't
Yeah.
picked any 3-0s. I'm willing to go 3-0 because I do believe in Surge. If you want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be at least a 3-0 somewhere
Oh,
in
for
this
sure. There's gonna be one in
land.
round 1.
Yeah.
We just didn't pick
Yeah.
one.
Exactly. So I don't know, I wouldn't it wouldn't be crazy to see Surge just come out with like dummy crazy numbers again. Like
Mhm.
they like 50-point club or something, just something crazy where like the team just isn't able to get a foothold in the map or something. So I could see that definitely happening. Maybe it's written in the stars, who knows? But yeah, I don't see a way Florida really has to take this series, let alone maybe even a map. I don't know.
Yeah. I marked down Surge 3-0 for that one. One thing that's interesting to note, I'm looking back at our first round. We did pick the favorite in every single series except we picked Florida over Boston in the losers round 1. So going to be some crazy upsets that happen on our bracket because it never goes that way. But whatever. We'll move on to these elimination round 2 matches. Pick Surge over Florida to move them on to the elim round 3. Now in elim round 2, we've got a very good team that is going to be knocked out, finishing what is that, top 8? There's going to be a very, very, very good team finishing top 8 because we have Gorillas versus Ultra down here in elimination round 2. That is a gauntlet of a match. In my opinion, these are two teams that I personally think LAG could win that London match, and Toronto could obviously win their first match against LA Thieves. I think between these two teams, one of them has a very good chance to finish top 4, depending on how the bracket goes, especially if LAG or Ultra are able to win that first match. I think one of these two teams will be finishing top 4 this event. Just the way that our bracket's shaking out, it might not look like it. But one of these teams is going to be there, in my opinion. So who do you think's moving on in this one? LAG versus Ultra.
This is tough. This totally has like it's another heavyweight bout down here in losers. I really side with my Ultra guys. They're not really my
Yeah.
guys. I'm not gonna say they're my guys, but I it's hard to doubt them on LAN. Losing 2 straight matches. Just because we saw them do it all last, and I'm going based on like a lot of their results last year and stuff, and how consistent they were.
God, I really want to go bold here with LAG, but Ultra are the
Yeah,
smart pick.
I think the
Yeah.
bold pick for LAG would have been picking them in the first match, to
Yeah.
not even drop down. That's another debate if for a revisionist bracket. um, but Ultra, I just gotta go with. I think Ultra's the safer pick too.
I do
Um,
think they are. I just know
and
we're going to get screwed by going so
and
safe in every
yeah,
pick.
and maybe that's why I'm bailing out a little bit with this pick. But it's hard to imagine Ultra losing this one. Uh,
I'll go Ultra if we go 5 games because I think this
o-
is going to be
okay, I'll give Ultra a 3-2.
okay. We can move Ultra on and then go back up to winners, but that is a match that I
That's
really
brutal.
the two LA teams for some reason I feel are going to make deep runs in this tournament. So I just feel really weird having LAG out. So we're going to do this as like a podcast bracket, but when I make my personal bracket, I might have LAG make a deep run. But I don't mind that because it's very hard to pick against Ultra to have them get eliminated that early as well because we've seen them have so much success since this roster formed and Insight came in for methods. Going up to the top, though, we've got the match of the weekend up to this point in terms of this will probably be the most viewed match in the CDL up to this point. Going back up to winners round 2, it is Faze OpTic. The match probably everybody wants. They always seem to have a chance to match up, and it never happens. So one of them will probably get upset. We just somehow won't see this match. But we've got Faze OpTic. A couple weeks ago, this would have been a Faze 3-0, but OpTics looked really hot. I really feel like if you were, this is odd, but if you were giving me Faze or the field, which is definitely what the bet would be, I'm taking the field in this event. I just really feel like there are 4 or 5 teams that I think are close enough to Faze's level that I could see them winning. I just don't think Faze are the absolute dominant force. They are definitely the favorite. I just don't think they're the dominant force. I think this is going to be a really close series. OpTic's definitely going to have the crowd on their side. They're at home. Uh, if they roll Surge and they're able to roll this match, I guess I'll go out and say it. If OpTic does win this match, I think they're going to win the event. If they roll through this match, I just don't know if I can pick them to win it. What are you thinking here? This has a deep series written all over it to me, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is tough. Because we've seen so much disappointment with OpTic in recent years with like, the big match comes to them and then they just kind of flatline. Uh
Mm-hmm.
it's tough. I don't know. My gut says that I'll just pick Faze, but I agree with the deep series. It's definitely something that we want to see, like, a long series, like a long hard point, round 11 searches, round 5 controls. We don't want to see anything too dominant, just for the storylines and stuff. But I could definitely also, I could convince myself easily into an OpTic, just recent run of form. I could convince myself into OpTic winning this as well.
That's kind of where I'm at. I just
This
think,
is, I don't know.
yeah.
Whatever the 3-2 is, just give me whatever you want there, because I'm honestly fine with picking OpTic or Faze. I totally agree that Faze versus the field, I'd probably side with the field.
Which is, it's funny we're saying that, like, because that just shows how dominant Faze is. That it's like, Faze of the field, like we're picking the field. We normally wouldn't because normally it's always Faze. But like last year, you pick Faze almost every event if you were given Faze versus the field.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, I don't know. I was leaning OpTic when I saw the series because of recent form. I know Faze are so consistent, but at some point, Faze are going to lose in a winners round early. And based on OpTic's recent form and how we always see them win a match, uh, I want to lean OpTic 3-2 here. I think they're going to get over that hump. I think we saw them get over the Ultra hump that they haven't been able to get over. And then they had a clutch match versus Breach where they needed to win to get a better seed. And honestly, it helped them a lot because they didn't have to play Ultra or Gorillas early on. They get a cold Surge team. I think OpTic's going to win this one. Homeland. I want to go 3-2 just because I feel like at some point Faze is going to fall down early. Now, that doesn't mean I don't think Faze might come back and maybe beat OpTic in like a grand final or loser final later on, because I still think if they play again, it'll be very tough for OpTic to beat them twice. But I really want to move OpTic on in this one because I think we got to go bold on some picks. I don't think we have gone too bold, so I think I want to move them on and put Faze on a losers run. Are you
That's
willing to go
fine with
OpTic 3-2?
That's fine with me.
All right. I'm gonna put him 3-2. I think most people are gonna pick Faze here, and I just want to go bold because I do think as the year goes on, Faze might start to dominate this matchup. So I think if there's a time to pick Faze to lose early, it's this major. We're gonna move OpTic on 3-2. Some of you might be shocked with that, but I don't know. As the year goes on, usually we solidify things more, but early on, that first major is always the most crazy one. And Faze has got to lose at some point. They haven't lost a regular season series yet. All right. The other winners match to go to the winners finals, Thieves Ravens. I know the Ravens are my boys. I'm leaning Thieves here. I think the hard points in this series are going to be some of the best hard points we watch, though. Thieves, obviously, right now, the best hard point team in the game. London, the best team at breaking hills in hard point. They have that crazy stat everybody's talking about where they don't rotate, but they have the best break percentage. So that's how they're winning hard points. I think that's going to get to them, though. I think Thieves are going to be the better team in hard points. I think we're going to see London be better in search. I think this series is going to come down to the control, to be honest with you, because I think it'll be a 1-1 split going into that map 3. I think this series is really going to depend on that control. I'm definitely leaning Thieves here because I was pretty confident in Thieves getting out of that first round, but very hesitant on London even winning that first match. So I'm leaning Thieves here, but expecting a very good series with a lot of submachine gun firepower.
So yeah, I want to go with Thieves here. Is this a series? Is this a case where if it gets pushed to a game 5, then it's like, oh man, I'm gonna give the edge to Ravens here?
I don't think
Um,
so. I think if it goes game 5, I maybe would give them an edge, but I don't think it's one of those where I'm not willing to put it game 5 because I think that Ravens are better. Chiefs are a veteran team. I could very easily see them clutching up a game 5.
yeah, I don't know. This could just give me Thieves in the 3-1
Okay, I'll take that.
here. That's kind of what my gut is telling me right now.
All right, I marked it down. I don't disagree with that at all. I just really like Thieves in that matchup. And oh my God, are we set up with some bangers in our losers bracket here? First one in this elimination round 3, Ravens drop down to play Surge. Uh, in my opinion, I think Ravens are going to be motivated. I think they're going to come down. I want to pick a 3-0. We got to pick some more 3-0s, I think, and I think Ravens are the better team. Definitely could see it going longer, but I'm fully on Ravens here to win this match. But I think 3-0 or 3-1 for the side of the Ravens.
Yeah, it has to be a 3-1. I can't. I don't know. We were just talking about Surge getting up ahead of Steam here.
Yeah.
3-0ing their last match. I don't know. I'm fine picking Ravens to be motivated and kind of begin a loser's run.
Mm-hmm.
But I just can't see it being a rollover 3-0.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll
I
go
put in 3-1
Ravens,
for
but
it.
yeah, I'll go Ravens, but give me at least a map for Surge here.
All right. I put it in. Little 3-1. 3-1 action for the Ravens to move them on. Next match we've got a classic grand finals matchup from champs last year. We got Faze Ultra. I'm definitely leaning Faze here. I know we had them lose early on, but we're either getting OpTic Ultra or Faze Ultra down here in our bracket. This bottom part of the bracket is going to be brutal no matter what way it goes because we either have Toronto or Thieves coming down into round 1 or LAG or Ravens. And then it's probably going to be LAG Ultra like we have it. And then Faze or OpTic are coming down. This bottom half of the losers bracket is the place that you don't want to be. The top half includes Boston, Florida, Seattle, Paris. And that's their run through. That top half is where you want to get dropped to if you're in losers, which is why London maybe has that favorable matchup if they drop down, or Thieves if they're the team that drops down. But we've got Faze versus Ultra here. I'm leaning Faze. I actually want to put this one at a 3-2 because when these teams play, it's always fireworks. It's always a tough matchup. But I think in the end, Faze are the better team and are in better form right now. So I'm leaning Faze in a 3-2. I don't know what you're thinking.
Yeah, Faze Ultra. I think Faze are gonna be pissed that they got knocked out of winners.
Yeah,
I don't
for
think
sure.
it's gonna go. I don't think it's gonna go 3-2. I think it's gonna be a 3-1 to Faze.
Okay. I'm willing to do that. I really do feel confident that Faze are going to win. I would agree with you.
Yeah,
I could see them coming out with the absolute firepower and just dominating because they are pissed that they're down here, and they're not getting back-to-back losses in my opinion. So I'll put in a Faze 3-1, and we can move them on to play Ravens. In the elimination semifinals, winner goes on to top 3 and losers finals. I don't know where you're leaning here. Do you think Ravens are going to be able to pull off a big upset? I think it's going to be a Faze win here.
Yeah, I unfortunately this might be where Ravens have to bow out.
Hey, top 4 though. That'd be a pretty solid finish.
Yeah,
4th.
yeah. I don't. Yeah, Faze. Give me Faze like another 3-1. I know it's a cop out map count, but a 3-1
Let's
just
go.
sounds.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's go bold and go 3-0, but we can
Yeah,
go.
I wouldn't be opposed to a 3-0.
Let's put it down to go bold.
All
Although I
right.
do think it's crazy because I think the Ravens are very good. I think if it is a 3-0, it's 3 close maps, but we got to pick a couple 3-0s in here. And I do think, despite the fact we may have Faze dropping down, it's because they're playing, in my opinion, like the second or third best team in the game, OpTic. But I don't think that means that Faze is going to just bow out. I think they're going to make a run here. The first time they're really tested with that roster to make a losers run. Now up in the top here, we've got OpTic versus Thieves in the winners finals. Double points match here on the website. I don't know where you're leaning with this one. I'm gonna kind of let you go first because I feel pretty confident in the team I'm picking in this one. Thieves OpTic gonna be a bloodbath in the hard points. I honestly, as weird as it sounds, because they haven't been this team recently, I'm giving the edge to OpTic in the search and destroys in this series, in my opinion. But where are you leaning on this one?
I I kind of think Thieves might upset OpTic here.
Okay,
I
I'm on the
say
same
I say
page.
up I say upset in the sense that it's going to be like a massive, massive letdown for the home crowd because then OpTic would have to go down and play Faze in a losers final. Um, oh man, but I kind of think I kind of like Thieves as the spoiler villain bad guy role here. Um, because obviously OpTic beating Faze, you would just think that oh, it's just a clear path to the we'll just waltz to the grand final. But I think Thieves are going to play spoiler here.
Hmm.
So it's just to me it comes down to map count. Uh,
Uh,
Screw it. Give me a game 5. I don't care.
okay.
A game
And
4 or a game 5.
we'll do 3-2 just because I think this is going to be a very close series. But I would agree. I was leaning Thieves all the way on this one. I feel very confident in their team. They tend to, in their history, since Hunter T was really, I technically first founded in BO3, but when they were really, really founded with a good team in BO4, they've always had OpTic's number. Seems like every clutch situation they find a way to take out OpTic. And Kenny was always the big factor in a lot of those matches in Black Ops 4. He was kind of the guy making some plays and clutch plays in those. Octane was also around for those matchups, so a lot of that team is around. Um, I'm definitely leaning Thieves here. I like 3-2. I guess technically it is an upset because they're the team that technically is the underdog. They're the lower seed. Or I guess no, Thieves is the higher seed. I completely forgot that OpTic's 3-2 and Thieves is 4-1. So Thieves do get the advantage of picking the control. I was thinking for some reason it was the other way around that OpTic got the advantage, but no. Now that this is flipping, this makes me even think more Thieves because Thieves is gonna play Gava 2 hard or Gava 2 control, and I think they have a pretty significant advantage over OpTic on that one because I think with Kenny, Octane, and Draz on the ARs, I think that's a pretty significant advantage. Pretty much just gun skill wise, I think Dashy's obviously good on the AR, but I think Illy and then Scump using a third AR is just kind of awkward. He just never has an AR in his hands. He can definitely do it, but I think Gava 2 is like the map that Thieves are like untouchable on. Everybody says they like don't want to play it on him, play them on it, but they're gonna get to choose it for the control, so that's gonna make things a little tough for OpTic. So I think Thieves definitely is gonna be able to take the control. So I'm leaning 3-2 Thieves. We'll put that in there. And then we'll go down to our elimination finals, OpTic versus Faze. Rematch. You think OpTic can beat him for a second time? You think Faze is going to take him out?
It's hard to beat a team twice, as I've said at least. OpTic Faze losers final.
You think OpTic's going to hit that winners final, finally be on their way to making their first grand finals appearance since Modern Warfare, and then just lose 2 in a row?
I don't know. That's tough.
Because I will say, to take some of the pressure off you, I do think Faze will be able to take this one. I feel like
Yeah.
OpTic definitely, like, I'm not ruling them out at all. Wouldn't be shocked if this series comes up in elimination finals. Wouldn't be shocked if OpTic's able to win it, but it's going to be pretty hard for me to pick against Faze twice versus OpTic. I do not doubt that OpTic can win this though, but I lean Faze here. I almost want to go another 3-2 because I do really respect OpTic. And I think that they're one of the few teams that can go toe to toe and respawn with Faze. I feel like they're going to find a way to win 2 of those first 4 maps, but I think Faze will edge them out and kind of clutch up. Double game 5s for OpTic, heartbreakers, but I think they'll show a lot of promise.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3-1 or 3-2.
All right.
Yeah, so I'll go
I'll
Faze
pencil in
though.
the 3-2. And then
Yeah.
we'll go to our grand finals where we've got Thieves versus Faze. I like the way our bracket shaped out because I do think that Thieves, Faze, and OpTic are the top 3 teams in the game right now in whatever order you want to throw them in. And then I like that our 4th team is maybe more of a dark horse because I feel like a lot of people are saying like Ultra or maybe an LAG team. I feel like London is a little bit of a dark horse because people aren't expecting an Atlantic experience. So I do like them finishing 4th as the dark horse, but we've got Thieves, Faze. I believe in the best of 9, the only advantage they get is Thieves get to choose the one hard point they don't play. In the series, we know they're going to play Gavutu because that's Thieves' really strong map, which is a huge advantage because Thieves, like, that is their favorite map. They say nobody wants to challenge on it, and we know Faze technically doesn't really like that map. So I really think that Thieves are going to be able to take the Gavutu control and the Gavutu hardpoints. I'm giving them a minimum of 2 maps. I think they'll probably veto out Bocage because Faze has been like a dominant Bocage team and Thieves have struggled on it. So I think that gives Thieves another advantage. You can kind of see a trend of where I'm going with this, but uh, I'm kind of with Aches. I'm thinking Thieves in the finals. I'm going to be honest with you. I said I'd take the field if it was given. I think Faze are probably still the favorites, despite the fact they don't get the map veto advantage. Uh, but I think the fact that these are going to be able to choose what hardpoint they get out, and they're going to get to play double Gavitus as long as the series goes long enough to where that Gavitu control is, and I guess where the hardpoint is as well. I'm thinking Thieves in the finals, but I obviously wouldn't be shocked if you wanted to go Atlanta because they probably are the favorite.
Yeah, I just need to be bold and go with Thieves here. Give me like Faze with a chip on their shoulder now, having like if this comes to fruition and they do uh come out in second place in this first LAN, it'll definitely be like kind of like an oh crap moment. Maybe not like obviously not a panic moment, but them kind of getting bopped in the grand final. Uh, would be a new dynamic to have them like playing from like quote unquote behind. So I'm totally down with giving Thieves major one winners. I love it. I really love Thieves as an org as well. So
Oh yeah.
it's definitely one I can get behind. Um, I like it though. Give me Thieves. I don't know what the map count would be. Uh, like a 5-3 maybe. Like we go all the way to a game 8.
Yeah, I will. I 100%, regardless of where this one goes, uh, I 100% think this is going to be a long series. Like, it's not going to be like a 5-1, regardless of who wins. I do think that Thieves are so good in hardpoint that they're not going to lay down, and Faze are so good in control and search that they're not going to lay down. So I think 5-3 is a good way to go. I think 5-3 Thieves. One thing I really do think is a big deal is the fact that Thieves have that veto advantage and they're going to get to play double Gavitus. Like, that is a big deal because of how good they are on that map. I think that's almost a locked and loaded 2 map wins for them. Just a matter of can they find 3 other map wins before Faze finds them. I guess we'll find out. I do think this is a very good chance to be the finals. Obviously, it could not be. I could see OpTic being in here. I could see Ultra, London. Like I said, we were talking about Faze versus the field. I don't know if you want to list the teams that you're thinking like are in that like field discussion. I mean, for me, I'm gonna scroll back over so we can see like the first round. We can see more teams, but there you can see it. We pick Faze 5-3 over Atlanta in the finals. I like it, going a little bold, but going back to that, like where you've got this Faze versus the field discussion. In this top part of the bracket, I think OpTic are definitely a team that's poised to be one of the favorites in this tournament. I'm saying along with Faze, I think that London They're 4-1. We got to respect their chance to win. I think Thieves and Ultra, who play each other, one of them's guaranteed to be in winners round 2. I think both of them are legit contenders. I even think a team like LAG is a dark horse, and Seattle's a dark horse. Then you go into the losers bracket. I really don't think anybody starting in losers has much of a chance. Besides, you can maybe say Rocker have that dark horse potential if their Search and Destroy can get like red hot. But that's when we're talking Faze versus the field. I really think between OpTic, Surge, Ravens, Gorillas, Thieves, and Ultra, I can see all of them in the perfect storm finding a way to win the tournament, especially since they're all starting in winners.
Yeah,
Won't be shocked.
I totally agree with your field analysis there. And I really do think that Major 1 is the time to strike against a,
Make a run, stack some points.
Against a, kind of like, I'm going to use a Star Wars analogy, but it's kind of like, attacking the Death Star with like the one little vulnerable weakness or something. It's like, you might as well do it now because Faze isn't going to sit complacent and not improve. And all these teams
get that 1 seed advantage over them early on.
Yeah, and all these teams are going to improve. Not to say that Faze would be the only one to improve over the season, but maybe Major 1 is the best because obviously, like we're saying, like even in our analysis, our amateur analysis here, we're like, there's so many teams like the field and yada yada yada, that why not go out and just tell yourself you can win this first LAN and really like cement yourself as one of the best teams and obviously like the best team if you win this first LAN. So yeah, I don't see why one of these field teams can't win. And like we said, we're picking Thieves here. So
yeah. One other thing I maybe want to discuss with this bracket, of the teams that we maybe had losing in the first round. So only teams that aren't eligible for this are Faze, OpTic, Ravens, and Thieves, because those are the ones we had winning in the winners round 1. So between Breach, Surge, Gorillas, Ultra, and then the losers teams, Florida, Paris, Minnesota, and Subliners. What dark horse team, since they're all technically the underdogs in their first match, what dark horse team do you see as the team that you kind of are having your eye on to maybe make a top 4 run? I'll tell you right away, mine's LAG.
Yeah.
I feel like Ultra are also a pick. A lot of people are going to say, but I just think Ultra's first round matchup with Thieves is brutal. And obviously both of us have some confidence in Thieves as we pick them to win the major. I feel like I have my eye on LAG. I just really feel like they have a very good chance to beat Ravens. And then it's going to come down to the fact that they play Thieves. And if they're able to beat the Thieves, which I think they would have a chance to do, they're going to be poised to have the bracket that Thieves had, which technically that whole bottom side of the bracket as you move on is maybe a little bit easier. And that's where Thieves or LAG will find themselves. I feel like if LAG is able to win that winners round 1, they could make a run, find themselves in the top 4 situation. So they're kind of my dark horse team for the weekend. I would maybe say Seattle, but I feel like they start off with a brutal match against OpTic, and even if they're able to win that, they then play Faze. They got a pretty tough draw. So I don't know. You're agreeing with that? You're thinking LAG is kind of your dark horse team? I feel like a lot of people are saying that.
Yeah, more so just because of like what it would set them up for, or what they get set up with, I should say, with a win in the first round. Like you said, Surge really have a tough draw of it, and the other team I was thinking maybe would be like a Breach. Maybe they catch fire or they figure something out.
I like that pick because I think they have a chance to beat Florida, then beat Surge in the losers bracket.
Yeah, so I definitely think that you can't write off Breach, even though like we kind of just at least maybe I kind of just hand waved them. I don't want that to sound like coming off because I was, people will forget just a few weeks ago I was very high on on Boston.
Yeah, you were ready to get them towards the top 6 conversation.
Yeah, based on Scrim Intel, man, he led me down a dark path.
I don't think that Boston is actually like. I think they are still that top 8 verge for sure. I mean, they're in the 8th seed right now. That's exactly where I pinned Boston as about the 8th, 9th team. That's where they are. And to be honest, full transparency, this is our combined bracket where we pick together. If I make a personal bracket, I think I might have Boston beat Florida and then beat Surge and make a run to elimination round 3. they lose the first match to Faze and then make a little mini run, maybe win 2 match in losers. I don't know. I could definitely see them making a run. It's just like you said, they play Faze in the first round, so it's very hard to pick them to be the team that's going to make a run. A lot of that depends. Like I think Boston has dark horse potential, but when your first round matchup is Faze, very tough to say that you're going to make a deep run because you're almost guaranteed to be knocked into losers immediately. Any other teams you want to keep your eye on besides the teams we have moving on, or you want to jump into Down Bad Sportsman of the Week and wrap this thing up?
Can you just read off the teams one more time for us that we have to possibly make like that dark horse run?
I mean, I think every underdog in the
Yeah.
winners side, which is Breach, Surge, Gorillas, and Ultra, because technically I would say you can't consider Faze, OpTic, London, or Thieves as underdogs, or as
Right.
like because they are the top 4 seeds. So I think you can't really consider them underdogs, even if London is maybe in that situation. So they're kind
Hmm.
of exempt. But it's our winners teams: Boston, Seattle, LAG, Ultra, and then our losers bracket teams: Florida, Paris, Rocker, and New York. Um, I really
I
would
don't know.
like to
Like,
say New York is a random dark horse team, but they have to play the loser of Thieves Ultra. So
yeah, I don't know. The only other team I would see is you know, like I think we've harbored on it for a while is Ultra, just because of like what we've seen them be able to do.
oh, for
Uh,
sure. And we're picking Thieves to win, but Thieves could very easily lose in round 1
yeah.
to Ultra.
So
Like that's a very big possibility. I actually will say that's a good point that you bring up. I think the winner of the Thieves Ultra match is going to make a run to winners finals, pretty much.
yeah,
Unless
yeah.
LAG finds a way to win, like I said, I could see them making it. But I think there's a very, very, very high chance that whoever wins that Thieves Ultra match finds themselves in winners finals, guaranteed top 3. Uh, because I feel like Ultra moving on, playing LAG and Ravens. Obviously, we favor them over LAG because we did pick them to beat LAG and losers in our bracket. But I do think Thieves Ultra winner of that match probably finds themselves finishing top 3. So they're definitely a good pick. Just they draw the unfortunate circumstance of playing the team that we have winning it all. If you don't want to discuss anything else with the bracket, though, we can jump into Down Bad Sports Home of the Week and hop on out of here and get people all ready to watch the major.
Yeah.
All right. You got anything for Down Bad Sports Home of the Week? I actually saw something, a little highlight that I wanted to mention. I saw Kelly Olynyk on the Pistons hit a little fadeaway game winner. You actually hit me with a nostalgia bomb on the timeline when you posted that Pistons. What's their announcer's name? Legendary
Mason.
announcer. Yeah,
Mason.
when you posted that, one of my earliest basketball memories, like my first favorite team, actually, like back when the Bucks were terrible, I never had actually watched a Bucks game. I was like in love with Chauncey Billups. He was like my favorite player, like probably maybe arguably my first ever favorite athlete. Besides, I really think Jerry Rice was back when I first started watching football. But like Chauncey Billups
I'm
was probably
fist
my
pumping over here so hard.
Chauncey Billups is probably my first ever favorite basketball player, maybe first ever favorite athlete. I used to like when I played basketball in the driveway with my cousin, he like loved that Pistons team too. And like basically when I was younger, he was like my older brother that I like copied everything. So like from him, I kind of like picked up liking that Pistons team. And I had a Rasheed Wallace jersey. I have a Rip Hamilton on like the old, like that teal blue Pistons.
Oh my
And now this
gosh.
thing is like for a 5-year-old, so like if I put it on now, it'd be like a bra basically. But I still have all those old Pistons jerseys. When I was like shooting, I would literally act like I was Chauncey Billups in the driveway. Like this is my first team. So when you posted that, I guess this isn't really a down bad moment. This is my sports over the week I want to talk about. When you posted that, I got hit with the nostalgia. Like me and my cousin used to announce just like that with like the Ben. We used to always say
Yeah.
that,
Oh
and
my
like
god.
that was my favorite, like my first favorite basketball team. Now, obviously, I am a Bucks fan now, but like when the Bucks were so terrible back in the day, like playoffs come on, I'm like Rasheed Wallace. This guy's getting a tech, and I'm gonna cheer for him while he's getting his tech. And I absolutely love that team. So I know they're technically rivals, but like whenever the Pistons are like playing, like if they are able to get back to glory, I'm always gonna kind of be cheering for them, as long as they're not playing the Bucks. But so when you posted that, that was like a nostalgia blast for me because I was in love with that team as a young kid.
Yeah, I guess I'll continue. I'll give a little monologue on the same deal because for me it was kind of like it was a mixed bag of, every once in a while that video will come on the timeline and I kind of I quote tweeted it. I was like, I gave the old the Andy Bernard office
Yeah.
quote of
Yep.
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. Um
Hmm.
and yeah, I mean that goes all. I think that was from the 2005 NBA Finals. So another down bad moment for me was the 2005 NBA Finals when we lost to the Spurs
Yeah.
in 7 games. Robert Ory, fu. Um,
Yeah.
but but yeah, I mean, just gave me massive, like you said, nostalgia vibes of driving up the freeway to the Palace of Auburn Hills, R.I.P. in peace.
Yep.
To that place, legendary venue for the Pistons. It was just so weird though because it was like it's about 30 or 40 miles outside of Detroit, and it's just like in the middle of no it's in the middle of like an industrial park, like office buildings and an industrial park. Um like really virtually surrounded by nothing. Uh
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean driving up there as a kid, you get those big fire cannons going off during the announcement. You have the final countdown by Europe playing in the background. Da da da
Yep.
da 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 da. And oh man, just and to see how far the franchise has fallen into monotony and really like lassitude from the glory days of the going to work Pistons, where they the final score of a game for the going to work Pistons would be like 73 to 62 or something. Like they would hold teams to like nothing. And nowadays you see games going into like the 120s, 130s on a weekly basis. So yeah, a little bit down bad to see that. Like I said, mixed bag of emotions on the timeline to see a classic childhood memory like that come on. And um, I've always said to my friends too, I'm like, I can't wait for like if the Pistons ever get good again, because basketball is just one of the easiest sports to rally behind. Um, the games are always on at night. Uh, it's just such a simple game to follow. So yeah, I guess the Pistons down badish about the classic video of Mason announcing, and you know one final thing, when they announced Ben Wallace and that gong hit, oh man, just sends shivers down your spine. Like
Yeah.
he was always the last one to get announced too, and it's like gong.
Yeah,
Oh
I
man.
mean, you're preaching to the choir there because that's like if it obviously Bucks championship team, my favorite team of all time, but like besides my favorite team, that team is my favorite basketball team, maybe my favorite sports team that's not one of my favorite teams of all time. Uh I don't know. I just am absolutely in love with that team in the past. And I know what you're talking about because like almost in NBA games, NBA has by far the best intros of any sport. Uh like introductions for the players. And like when you're in an NBA game, it's so electric. Like I know exactly what you're talking about with the Ben Wallace thing because when you go to a Bucks game, especially a playoff game when they're in the middle of the run in Giannis, especially like my cousin and I went to game 3 of the finals last year. I was able to get some like student tickets since I still had my student email from college, and they do them for super cheap. So I got like $200 tickets to sit like first row upper level at game 3 of the finals, and it was like nuts. Like it's nuts every regular season game, but when uh you got the announcer screaming, which the Bucks have a fantastic PA announcer, and he's like giving the intros for everybody, and then like second to last you get Middleton, and people go crazy because he's Giannis's sidekick, and then when he says um the man from Greece, the Greek freak, and then he screams Giannis's name, like you might as well have your ears start bleeding because the whole place goes that crazy. Because I mean, Giannis literally has revived the Milwaukee Bucks. People wanted to kick them out of the city and move them to Seattle before he came around because nobody cared about them. It was Packers or nothing. And Wisconsin, and now the Bucks have taken over. Giannis is already a greater athlete in Wisconsin sports than Aaron Rodgers. He's done
Oh, hot
everything
take.
Rodgers has done in half the time. Rodgers is the most overrated athlete. He just chokes every year in the playoffs. Giannis has taken over as the best athlete in Wisconsin sports history. And there's people that actually like still think that Kareem is a better Buck. Kareem obviously overall better player than Giannis. All-time leading scorer, 6 rings at this point. Kareem is far and away ahead of Giannis and stuff. But in terms of Bucks history, Giannis is the best Buck of all time, no question. 2-time MVP, won as many rings as Kareem, and he's been doing it for longer with the team. Didn't request a trade out of here. Like I can't believe that's still a debate, but uh, people go crazy for Giannis, and it's like the best thing ever. And NBA intros are the best thing in sports. Sports intros, I should say. They're like electric when you're in the building. Uh, you got anything else to mention on this before we wrap it up?
No, it was a good discussion on
Yeah,
the glory days, or at least the glory days of my Pistons, and then you know, just
my
kind of
team's currently in the glory days, but who knows
yeah.
for how much longer?
I mean, I just hope that you know you're in them before
Oh, I know
they've
I'm in them.
actually
I
won.
suffered through 20 years of no playoff wins with the Bucks before hitting this glory days type stage. So, I trust me. I know I'm in them, and I know they're probably second Giannis leaves is probably 30 more years of losing. But I'm ready to wrap this one up. If you are,
Hmm.
I was excited to get into this. Obviously, first major predictions. This is, as you guys all know, one of my favorite things to do. This is really the first like full on tournament predictions we've been able to do with Kyle for this season. It was fun. Obviously, it's sometimes a little weird because with two people, if you have a disagreement, there's no like firm tiebreaker to settle it. So we're looking into some potential ways in the future to do that. But for this event, we really didn't disagree too much. It was more on map counts that we maybe differed. So we'll maybe looking into some other ways to potentially settle tiebreakers in the future. Um, we'll get into that more. Obviously, we've got about a month till the next major to figure that out. But this was a fun one. I really enjoyed doing it. Um, Obviously, our bracket's probably going to be wrong in some ways, but we went with a lot of favorites. I think that might be how this bracket shapes out. It was a fun one to record, though. If you guys are listening on audio platforms, be sure to drop a follow and a review if you're able to. Been getting a lot more listeners on the audio platforms. It's a little unfortunate because if you guys don't follow the Twitter or really like comment on YouTube, it's really hard to communicate with people on the audio platforms because there aren't really like comment sections or anything. So that's super unfortunate. I wish there was more of a way to connect with you guys on there, but come drop a follow on Twitter. It's in the description. If you're listening to the podcast, have a question or have a question for us or something, tweet at me. I'll obviously see that, respond to that. Maybe tell you, hey, wait on a response. I'll throw it in the podcast or something. But it'd be cool to interact with some of you guys that are maybe audio only listeners. If you're on YouTube, obviously be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy. We really appreciate it. We're very close to 400 subs, like we said last week. Gained a few more, and we're almost at that milestone. That'd be a pretty cool thing to hit here going into the major. We appreciate you guys all watching, and we will see you in the next one after hopefully a crazy major, and we'll see if Thieves win it like we predicted. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one, everyone.